In the final hours of the investigation, the team made a breakthrough that would redefine everything they thought they knew. The sound recorded inside the tunnel did not match any known animal, geological phenomenon, or man-made source. It was something else entirely. After weeks of analysis, the audio specialists isolated a distinct pattern within the recordings. It wasn't just noise, it was structured. The frequencies were unlike anything produced by terrestrial life, exhibiting patterns that seemed almost mathematical. One of the lead acousticians on the project, a man who had spent 30 years deciphering complex audio signals from military intelligence, was visibly shaken. He stated in his private notes, "The sound is not random. It's a response. For every ping the team sent into the tunnel, a reply would come back, not an echo, but a distinct, new signal." This wasn't a natural occurrence. This was communication. The team tried different frequencies, different patterns, and each time, the response would mimic the structure but change its pitch. It was learning. It was adapting. They were no longer just listening to the tunnel. They were in a conversation with it. Something inside was responding. The pattern wasn't just a simple reply, either. It had a rhythm, a cadence, like a heartbeat or a coded message. Over and over, the same sequence would appear, but only in response to their own signals. When they remained silent, the tunnel was silent. When they transmitted, it answered. It was a chilling revelation. The team had stumbled upon something that wasn't just anomalous, it felt intelligent. The sound possessed a structure so complex that random chance was statistically impossible. It wasn't a geological echo or a trick of the wind. It was a deliberate, repeating signal. Whatever was in that tunnel was waiting, listening, and answering. This discovery shifted the investigation from a scientific curiosity to a potential first contact scenario, but with an entity whose nature and intentions were completely unknown. The mystery of the tunnel had just deepened, and the implications were staggering. The most disturbing truth emerged when the team analyzed the timeline of their recordings. The anomalous sounds were not constant. They appeared with chilling precision only after midnight. Every single night, as the clock ticked past 12, the tunnel would come alive with these unexplainable frequencies. And just as mysteriously, as dawn approached, the sounds would stop abruptly. It wasn't a gradual fade. It was as if a switch had been flipped. Day after day, the pattern held. The team deployed every instrument at their disposal: seismic sensors, electromagnetic field detectors, thermal imaging cameras, and found nothing. There was no geological shift, no temperature change, no power source that could account for this behavior. Leading geophysicists and acoustical engineers were brought in, and they all came to the same conclusion: there was no known scientific explanation for what was happening. The phenomenon defied the laws of physics as we understand them. The sound had no discernible source, yet it was structured and intelligent. It existed only in the deep of night, a ghost in the machine that left no trace. This wasn't just an anomaly, it was a paradox. How could a sound exist without a source? How could it demonstrate intelligence without a physical form? The team was left with a single, horrifying conclusion. What they were dealing with was not of this world, or at least, not of our dimension of understanding. The evidence pointed to something that operated on rules we have yet to discover, a presence that inhabited the darkness and communicated in a language of impossible frequencies. The tunnel wasn't just a structure of concrete and steel. It was a gateway, and something was on the other side. Faced with evidence that defied explanation and could cause a public panic, the official response was swift and decisive. The government agency overseeing the project issued a public statement. Authorities labeled the tunnel structurally unsafe due to unforeseen geological instability. News reports cited the risk of collapse, and the tunnel was permanently sealed to all traffic. It was a clean, simple explanation that the public readily accepted. After all, infrastructure ages, and safety is paramount. But behind the scenes, a different story was unfolding. The engineers who had built the tunnel and the geologists who surveyed the area were baffled. Their reports, which were subsequently classified, showed no signs of structural damage. There were no fissures, no subsidence, no seismic activity that could possibly justify the closure. The mountain was as solid as it had been for a million years. The structurally unsafe designation was a lie. It was a cover story, designed to bury a truth so profound and unsettling that it could shatter our perception of reality. The team's data, the recordings, the analysis, it was all locked away in a secure vault, deemed too dangerous for public knowledge. The official narrative was a firewall, built to protect society from a mystery it wasn't ready to face. The few scientists and engineers who knew the truth were sworn to secrecy, their careers and reputations on the line. The tunnel wasn't closed to protect people from a collapse. It was closed to protect people from what was inside. Years have passed since the official closure. The story of the unsafe tunnel has faded into local legend, a footnote in the region's history. But the tunnel still exists, hidden from public view, behind reinforced concrete barriers and chain link fences. It remains. It is monitored, a small, clandestine unit, operating under a classified budget, keeps a constant watch. Automated sensors are still active, listening. They are not there to monitor structural integrity. They are there to listen for the sound, to see if it ever returns, to make sure that whatever is in there stays in there. To this day, the official story remains unchanged. But for those who know, the tunnel is a constant, silent reminder of a mystery that was never solved. It is a place where the known laws of our world cease to apply, and it remains closed. After midnight, some stories are more than just entertainment. They are fragments of a larger puzzle, glimpses into the unknown that challenge what we believe to be true. If you want more real mysteries documented like this, with the depth and respect they deserve, subscribe. Because some stories should never be followed casually.